Welcome back. This is SME On Point, your small business segment on SABC News. Thank you so much for staying with us. As we continue to recognize women-owned businesses, this week we learn about Her Venture, an app designed specifically for female entrepreneurs. This free, award-winning mobile learning app helps you access knowledge, skills and confidence to transform your business. Pumla Dladla was the video editor that did this insert. As an entrepreneur, constantly developing yourself is important. The Gibbs Entrepreneurship Academy has initiated a partnership with the Sherry Blair Foundation for Women and developed a mobile app to advance women and develop their businesses. The director of Gibbs Entrepreneurship Academy, Miranda Hoskins, says the Her Venture app is making thousands of women across the world better off by unlocking their potential as successful entrepreneurs.
The reason why we do that, we are passionate about women's entrepreneurship. So we were delighted to be able to partner with an international donor and partner to be able to advance women's entrepreneurship and to contribute to how women participate in the economy.
Research shows that women now account for 41% of the global workforce and control more than $20 trillion in annual spending. Predictions are that this number will increase to $28 trillion in the next few years. Hoskins says the contribution of women is growing. As it is, South African women contribute 33% to gross domestic product.
One finding in terms of women's participation is that as much as the world population comprises of more than 50% of women, women contribute roughly 33% to GDP. So that's an astounding figure, right? And so because of that, we are intentional about promoting women's economic participation and promoting and developing women's entrepreneurship.
The app offers bite-sized learning on topics such as launching a business, managing finances, accessing markets and e-commerce. This is done in easy and engaging formats.
Uptake of the app now is at roughly 50,000 women. In South Africa, we are targeting 3,500 women to sign up for and to engage with the app. And the app is really around targeted learning journeys to be able to capacitate women, whether they are at pre-startup, whether they are growing enterprises, whether they are at an advanced stage of growth. It looks specifically at your individual learning journey, maps content to that journey, and then helps you to engage with the content in a way that you direct. So it is self-directed, self-paced learning, which makes it all the more accessible.
Hoskins says their goal is to empower female entrepreneurs to be able to grow their businesses so that they can contribute to larger goals of job creation and economic development.
For us, it's not about keeping a woman entrepreneur where she is in terms of her current stage of growth. It's always around advancing that and making sure that we can create an enabling environment to facilitate high growth entrepreneurship.
The app is free and can be downloaded from popular download platforms. Diabo Seto, SABC News, Johannesburg. So this coming Sunday, August 21st, we are celebrating World Entrepreneurs Day, and every year in August, on the 21st, it is celebrated. The purpose of the World Entrepreneurs Day is to create awareness for entrepreneurship, innovation and leadership throughout the world. We've invited Mr. George Asamani, the MD at Project Management Institute, to reflect on the growth of African entrepreneurs. George, thank you so much for joining us on SME On Point. This year's celebration is specifically special in that the pandemic, the way I see it, has reconfigured entrepreneurship and its role. Some were born, others have died. What have you observed?
Thanks for having me. And first of all, I'd like to say Happy Entrepreneurship Day in advance to all those entrepreneurs out there. Whether you're succeeding or failing, what you're doing is really, really critical for our economies, because entrepreneurship drives growth in our economy. So happy Entrepreneurship Day, and thank you very much. So to answer your question, yes, the pandemic was really polarizing, and many entrepreneurs unfortunately failed. But this is what makes entrepreneurs special: their ability to fail again, fail yet again, and rise up. And we're seeing that with many of the entrepreneurs that we support through, for example, our Future 50 program, which looks at every year who are the budding 50 entrepreneurs all around the world. We've seen them go through challenges and pick themselves back up. And again, this is one of the reasons why I think they should be celebrated. Of course, there are those who have done extremely well through the pandemic, especially those that are technology oriented. If you think of how Zoom was a success because everybody had to migrate to Zoom, it's very similar with other entrepreneurs, not only around the world, but even specifically in Africa, whose technologies have been, whose businesses have been improved because of the shift to technology because of the pandemic.
I'm curious to know about what PMI, you've got a playbook of skills that can help entrepreneurs keep up with the changing landscape. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I love the more and more we're hearing about startups that are innovating and making things happen. And essentially, entrepreneurship is about solving problems that benefit society, regardless of whether the intention is for profit or not. We benefit because people come up with new ideas. So PMI's playbook is all about helping entrepreneurs to execute. It's that simple, because when they succeed, everybody else succeeds as well. And so there are two ways that we're doing this. First of all, we work very, very closely with many academic institutions, universities, TVETs, colleges, and the like, because, project management is such a critical skill. We want a situation where when students graduate, they enter the workforce not only with the academic knowledge that they have, but also with the ability to get things done, which is what project management is about. It's about how do you get things done and get things done well. So that's the first avenue. We work with education institutions. Secondly, we work with what we call youth-serving not-for-profits. So these are not-for-profit organizations or they're foundations of large companies that are looking at how to make an impact. And so we partner with them, again, to look at entrepreneurs, look at young people, look at what are they doing to get their ideas off the ground. If their ideas off the ground already, what are they doing to make sure that the execution happens? Because again, entrepreneurship is two parts, is having the idea, but the idea is nothing without the execution. And this is where project management is absolutely critical.
Yeah. Why do you say that it's important for entrepreneurs to first be project managers?
Well, I wouldn't say entrepreneurs have to first be project managers. I think entrepreneurs need to be entrepreneurs. But one thing that's absolutely critical to entrepreneurship is the skill of project management, because once that entrepreneur or that founder comes up with the idea, the execution has to happen, because then it just remains a dream. And so it could be that entrepreneur themselves learns the project management capability to make their dreams a reality, or it could be that entrepreneur actually partners with a co-founder or somebody in the team to make sure that the execution happens. If you think of Steve Jobs, he had Steve Wozniak. You find that a lot of successful entrepreneurs are not themselves the only success. They partnered with somebody who knew how to execute, or they had the execution skill as part of a wider team as well.
George, I'm curious about how African entrepreneurs are faring globally, particularly when we look at Sunday's celebration of Entrepreneurs Day. You spoke about Zoom and how it's infiltrated, and we are all using it because someone designed the product or the product itself. But how are we faring as African entrepreneurs? Are we infiltrating the world and also making ourselves known, or is there still more that still needs to be done in that space?
I think we are, and I think we've been doing so for a long time. Great examples are entrepreneurs from South Africa. South Africa has a lot of large companies, but at one point they were small companies started by entrepreneurs. Think of Nando's. Nando's is a global company. Think of some of the other companies that have come out of South Africa that are now not only across Africa, but all around the world. So I think we have been making our mark as Africans in entrepreneurship. I think that there's a lot more that we can do. Some of the companies I know who are making moves right now, it's a company, for example, like Paga. Paga is a fintech that's based in Nigeria and Ethiopia, and I know that they've been expanding around the world. For example, part of their strategy was to go to Mexico and the Philippines. Of course, that's a work in progress, but the point is that there are African entrepreneurs and successful African startups that are making a global impact now and also historically as well.
Yeah, people who watch this show will tell you about how passionate I am about buying and circulating the rands and cents in our communities. What are the most practical ways that we can make Sunday a success, knowing that it's Entrepreneurs Day? Give us some examples and ideas on how we can celebrate entrepreneurs and also support them.
I think, first of all, if you know an entrepreneur, send them a message on Sunday morning and say thank you for your contribution to the economy, right? Because as I mentioned earlier, entrepreneurship really drives our economy. Secondly, I don't know what we can do to change a culture, because a culture change is a big thing, but it also starts with small steps. So somehow we need to take small steps to help to encourage entrepreneurs, to let them know that, hey, what they're doing is actually really important, and our culture should support that, because typically in some of our cultures, we focus only on going to school and getting a job, and not necessarily on building businesses that actually impact the economy through entrepreneurship. So whatever we can do to support a culture change which drives entrepreneurship, I think that'll be great. But let's start with appreciating entrepreneurs on Sunday morning. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of entrepreneurs fail many times and keep on getting up, and eventually they solve a problem that we have, right? So let's celebrate them.
George Asamani, the MD at Project Managed Institute, thank you so much for joining us on SME On Point. That's all we have time for this week. Please remember to support small businesses in your communities, particularly on Sunday. It is Entrepreneurs Day. Do send that message to entrepreneurs, and if you have some cash, buy from them. This will help a long way, or will go a long way, in circulating the rands and cents that I so often speak about. And we'll have SME On Point again next week, Friday. But for now, more business news is coming up after the break. Do stay with us.